After 8 years, CBN have opened the border for Forex Reserve, where we have about 43 items that have been banned for the past 8 years, and the borders have been opened. You tend to wonder, what does this mean to manufacturers and other sectors in the nation? So we encourage you to sit tight as we take it down through the stories on the paper. I am Stella Elisha Dasham, and I'll be doing the program alongside Rachel Tansey. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm great. Thank God it's Friday. All right, we're live on Facebook and on YouTube, so please do well to follow us live there. Drop your comment or your contribution on any of the story that is of interest to you, and we will go straight into the paper, starting with the Friday Leadership newspaper.
Leadership newspaper articles appeal mere blockbuster Tinubu tells Supreme Court. Israel, Palestine, UN decries their situation. Their toll reaches 2,837. And we have a trend concerning Gaza. Khan warns against religious tension. And on numbers, GDP of 11 trillion naira achievable in 8 years. A statement coming from Cardoso, the new CBN governor. You can find details on page 2. The big story on the paper: 8 years after CBN opens Forex border to 43 banned items, manufacturing sector suffers setback. Naira heads for wars, puts pressure on foreign reserves. You can find details on page 4. Why Olukoyede was appointed EFCC chairman, a statement coming from the presidency. And if you want to know why, find details on page 7. Abdullahi Badewole Falana's wife, 54 others get Senior Advocate of Nigeria rank. You can find details on page 6. AU ECOWAS observers profile solution to Liberia's electoral challenges. IMF discusses debt with creditors as Nigeria considers restructuring. You can find details on page 19. And we have a story: APC has conquered Southeast, a statement coming from Akpabio to Uba. You can find details on page 23. And that's all the news on Leadership Friday edition.
All right, let's take a look at this day newspaper. And on this day, Tinubu to Supreme Court, dismiss Atiku's appeal is abuse of court process. You can start reading the story on the front page and continue on page 5. Also, we have CBN lift Forex restriction on importation of rice, cement, palm oil, and 40 other items. With the rider, we are having Apex Bank does not have magic word to address Nigerians' challenges. Says refocused central bank will save the country better through improved monetary policies. To shift focus from direct development financing to advisory roles that support economic growth. Naira depreciates further, now 1,015 naira to a dollar on the parallel market, where we have 759 naira on the investors and also e-window. You can find more of that story on page 5. Coming from Ganduji, he said the Southeast cry of marginalization controversial. You can find more of what does that mean on page 36. Also, we have Agbare Business Roundtable, where we can see where they are having, we can see the Vice President and also with Governor Biodun there. You can do well to grab the paper and see more detail of any of the story that is of interest to you.
On Nigerian Tribune, dismiss Atiku's appeal for lacking merit, Tinubu tells Supreme Court. How flood affected cassava, maize, beans in 18 states. This is a report. You can find details on page 12. The big story on the paper: CBN lifts Forex ban on 43 items to intervene in foreign exchange market. Restates commitment to boost liquidity in market. Action will reduce premium between official and parallel market. Avoid market suppression tendency, CPPE warns CBN. Senator Uba dumps YPP defects to APC. Ajulo Falana's wife, 56 others for SAN rank. Reps probe alleged victimization, forced imprisonment of Nigerians in Ethiopia. You can find details on page 3. Navy destroys 3 million liter capacity illegal refinery camps in Rivers State. Federal government approves over 260 emergency road repairs. Walk to GOP 217 billion naira statement coming from Mahi. And we have FEMA board gets not for reconstitution. You can find more details on page 3. Tinubu appoint Olukoyede as new EFCC chairman. You can find details on page 18. And we have a picture story where we can see how bad the Ibadan Ijebu or their road is. And that's all the news on Nigerian Tribune.
On the Punch newspaper, articles evidence for Chicago irrelevant, Tinubu tells the Supreme Court. You can find more detail of that argument on page 25. Israeli, Hamas, US, UK, India evacuate citizens as death toll hits 2,700. Complete AAK gas pipeline 2024, federal government orders contractors. You can find more of that on page 19. The big story that is making round on most of the papers still on forex crisis. CBN raises dollar supply, leave ban on cement and 42 items. ADS forex ban on rice, 42 orders removed. CBN insists on single forex rate. Private sector manufacturers hail federal government, and we have Kadusu plan more forex policy review. You can find more of that on page 2. We have a picture story here where we are seeing a diesel-laden tanker crashes on Lagos highway trap burst. You can find more of that story inside the paper, and that's why I think it's high time the governors of these various states look for a way to have maybe a time where we have all of these tankers plying in the road so they don't ply at the same time with other smaller cars. We've seen what this is happening. So I hope, Richard, that this is not just in Lagos. There are times where we've even had issue of trailer crashing into smaller cars during the daylight, even here in Plateau State. We know of a roundabout, particularly where each time we're having one trailer after another crashing and affecting other properties. So I'm thinking, why don't the government possibly look for a solution to this problem? Maybe give them a time. Possibly they should only ply the road from maybe 10 p.m. to possibly maybe 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. so that other cars can actually have the road free during the daytime, because it's really the number of deaths we keep recording during these crashes is becoming alarming. So I'm hoping that not just in Lagos State, because we know the Lagos Ibadan way seems to be like a death road for people. Each time we travel, we tend to be praying so nothing evil happens. So when we know that there is a solution to something and that the war can actually solve the problem, why don't we go for that? So I just hope that something will be done so we don't keep having these stories making it on our story, on our papers every day when we read the paper.
Yes, and of course, addition to that is anytime I see such tankers falling, my concern is the people who always go after these petroleum products, be it PMS or diesel. And then my question is, why do people act as if they have 9 lives? I mean, these things are highly flammable, and I've seen instances where people are literally swimming in petrol just to be able to pack it and then be able to go and sell it. And you know that any tiny spark of fire, you'll be roasted, and that's the end of you. And this is the part that kind of beats my heart, because people are taking so much risk. I mean, we know that the country is hard, but there's no excuse for this kind of behavior. There's no excuse for endangering your life. I think when something happens like this and these tanks don't explode, it's for you to run away, not for you to go closer. It's for you to secure yourself. It's for you to find more safety than to find yourself in the midst of doing something like this just because you are seeing that this tanker and whosoever was driving it is hopeless, and then you are taking opportunity. You just see how Nigerians are opportunists to a high level all the time, and anytime something bad happens. So I just hope that something is done about this alongside the safety of these tankers plying the road during the day when other motorists, smaller cars are on the road and then endangering lives. You see accidents that could have been avoided if only these tankers were not plying the road during the day, the same times where other motorists are moving, and then the federal road safety have to do something about that. And we don't even have to wait for the road safety alone, but in a state, I think governors should bring policies that will be able to help state owners. I think we have these cases virtually everywhere. There's just
always that part of the state that motorists always have issues with big trucks, and it has always caused a lot of damage. So I just hope the necessary authorities will step in and do the work that is needed for our roads to be more safe.
Of course, Rachel. Well, let's look at the story stated on the Punch newspaper, where we are having LPPC names 58 lawyers and drops 11 professors. You can find more on page 28. Two die, others injured in Oshun collapse building. That's a sad one. Send our condolences to the family. Also, we have the PSC promote 12 commissioners, 5,706 police personnel. More of that story can be found also on page 8, and that's all on the Punch newspaper.
On Daily Sun newspaper, Ohanize Indibo decries ethnic profiling against Igbo, demands respect for one another. Tinubu wants Supreme Court to dismiss Atiku's petition, urges Apex Court to reject ex-VP's claims. Federal government plans sexual offences unit in schools, promises severe sanctions for Randy lecturers. You can find more details on page 26. Reps call for reintroduction of price control board, panel screens NDDC board nominees. President appoints Olukoide new EFCC chairman Hamajoda as secretary. You can find more details on page 26. Israel vows continuous siege on Gaza till hostages are free. We have cemeteries full, hospitals turned into morgues. You can find more details on page 7. Bandits kill ransom bearer in Kaduna State. And at the downside of the paper, we have CBN leaves forex ban on 43 items. No magic wand to wave at economic challenges, says the Apex Bank governor. You can find details of his statement on page 2. Ogoni drags federal government, Rivers government to UN over $300 million compensation. You can find details of this view on page 2. We have picture stories where we can see the Vice President Kashim Shettima third to the left with Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, his deputy on the left, and then we have Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Obafemi Hamzat, and then we have the Minister of Works, we have the CEO Niger Delta Power Holding Company, and then we have Chedu Ubo during business roundtable in Apara, Ogun State yesterday. And also we have another picture story at the down showing Governor Peter Mbao of Enugu State with Secretary to the State Government and Onye on the second right, and Speaker of the State House of Assembly at the flag of the construction of Owo Ubahu Omokunu Ineke Ikem dual carriageway yesterday. And that paper.
A look at the Guardian newspaper. Poor funding, low patronage rob Nigerian sport 500 billion naira revenue yearly. You can do out read more detail of what does that mean to the Nigerian economy. Controversy trace appointment of lawyer Olukoye as the EFCC chair. Federal government talks tough on sexual harassment in universities. More can be found on page 7. CBN lift restriction of 43 items unveil measures to address distortion. 23.8 million family businesses contribute $200 billion to the Nigeria economy yearly. You can find detail of that business story on page 18, and that's all on the Guardian newspaper.
On the Nation newspaper, work begins on 260 federal roads nationwide, project to cost 217 billion naira. Olukoyede gets nod as EFCC chairman, why he was picked. You can find details on page 28. Africa's debt relief call legitimate, says IMF MD. 2 die, 4 injured in Ocean Church building collapse. How CBN's lifting of restriction on 43 items will affect economy. We have the Apex Bank ends direct funding of development projects. PSC promotes 5,718 police officers. We have Abwad raises pay by 35%. The big story on the Nation newspaper, Atiku's appeal lacks facts. Tinubu tells Supreme Court, claims on my Chicago varsity credentials cooked up, says the president, and then we have a statement saying the appellants did not intend to persecute a petition, but rather to venture into some form of blockbuster load with thrilling surprises, stunning surprises, and ecstatic hide and seek activities. This is a statement coming from the president. You can start with the details on the front page and continue on page 4. Why EFC has not reconvened. Another downside of the paper, Kwara Poli disown suspected killers of hotelier. You can find more details on page 25, and that's all the news on the Nation newspaper.
Richard, before we move forward, I think it's important. Let's talk about the lifting of the ban of the 43 items that CBN have been lifted. I mean, for the past 8 years, we've been having issues of EFCC, catching up with people bringing in foreign rice, especially because it tends to be the number one thing on the list, where we see let's consume what we're producing, let us try and encourage farmers, let's see how a lot of money can go into making sure that that sector of agriculture is being revived, because it seems to be sleeping. But then yesterday at around 8, we woke up to the fact that CBN had lifted the ban on all of this thing, and as it is presently, we are struggling with our naira that is crashing. And then what beat my chest, Richard, if you see the number of things that have been lifted, but these are things that we can actually produce here in the country. As little as toothpick, processed chicken, turkey, egg, corn, cement, rubber, and you wonder, really, why do we have to lift the ban on those things? Yes, I know to some extent right now it's going to even affect our economy, because manufacturers are complaining. We've seen where a number of manufacturers had to leave the country because the environment is no longer friendly for their business. Now, I want to have your take about the implication of lifting the ban on some of these items.
Well, the number one implication, Stella, it means we've taken 100 steps backward economically. It means we've taken 1,000 steps backward when it comes to manufacturing, when it comes to industrialization, when it comes to every. Because as good as this might sound, it means we become more dependent. Again, economically, it means we're going to have more deficit. Most especially, we will not be having a balance of trade anytime soon, because it means we are going to be importing more than we export. So we're going to see ourselves running on more deficits as a country, and then it just means it means bad business for manufacturers in the country, because now, whether we like it or not, there are countries who have put it upon themselves to manufacture these things that we haven't been able to manufacture in large quantities, and that's why we are able to get it. For example, you close the border on rice for a long period of time, since 2016 or thereabout. So, yes, when the president, yes, 16, yes, thereabout, where the past administration with President Muhammadu Buhari a ban on rice, and then you did not pump into the rice sector. Therefore, we had a period of time where the price of rice just kept on soaring high and high and high and high, to the extent that we are having a bag of rice up to 50,000 naira. And then the food that was once the common man's food, that was found everywhere and everybody could just find a way around rice, became an expensive commodity, and rice felt like luxury if you're able to eat it on a daily basis. And then without doing the necessary thing, I trust me, Sele, when I say that period of time is good enough for us to have boosted our rice production to the level that we won't be needing to import rice anymore. But when you do a certain thing and then you don't do what is needed for it to be balanced, then we will be seeing this kind of backwardness in our economy. So does it go for maize? Because I believe one of the reasons we're having something like maize also going to be imported is the fact that we are having poultry owners lamenting concerning the price. One time the bag of rice, if I can remember when it was okay, was 2,800. Now a bag of maize, no, sorry, feeds, chicken feeds.
Feed was 2,000 plus right
at
now.
A point in time, and now it's going as high as 11,000. It's 10,000 plus, almost reaching 11,000. And then when you don't do the needful thing, trust me when I say it was hardship, Sele, for us to say eat Nigerian made things. But then what was the thing you were putting in place to make sure that within a period of time we will be able to reach the capacity of producing enough for us to
consume, that we won't even need to eventually come and reopen the borders to certain things. And that thing was what wasn't done. And that's why we are going backward now to importing things that we should by now have no need for importing them into the country. And then whether we like it or not, we are going backward. It's not a step forward. Will it reduce the hardship? Yes, it will. But will our economy grow? No,
It will not.
won't. We are not going to grow economically. We're just going to have more and more deficit when it comes to our trade, and then eventually even our revenue and then our expenditure is going to go high, because now we are back into exporting, so money has to also go into that area and all of that. So it's just a lot of things in this when it comes to the ban and all of that. And of course, if you see the things that are being, the ban is being lifted, you
Rachel,
say, just as you said,
it
we're
beats my
supposed to,
mind.
but then we've refused to put in the things in place that will make it possible for us to manufacture these things in this country. So whether we like it or not, we will depend on things that on a normal basis we shouldn't even depend on. So
Honestly, Rachel, this just like you said, this is more like us going, in fact, 100 steps backward, because what the former administration possibly were hoping to achieve by closing the border was so we could encourage manufacturers within the nation to be able to produce something. I mean, we have rubber. You wonder, why do we have to import leather into the country? The likes of even processed meat, geisha, and the likes of it. And you wonder, don't we have enough fish in our rivers anymore to do all of that? Or are we trying to say that the environment is no longer favorable for people to be able to do that? Honestly, I just hope that the CBN governor really took the right step by opening the borders to all of this thing. But we hope that meanwhile, while the borders are being open, we shouldn't deceive ourselves and sit back. But this should call for what can we now do, so that in fact, if it means that I mean, there was this,
dollars going high,
it
it
keeps
doesn't mean we're
going.
getting them
Of
cheap.
course,
So
of course.
it doesn't mean we're getting any of these things cheap. No, the availability might be there. There might be food security. However, it doesn't stop inflation from taking its place. And we're going to keep seeing things increasing as long as we are having a free fall with our naira.
And I'm even scared for small medium enterprises that are just springing up. We've seen that already before the opening of the border. They're already closing down because of the
Yes.
scarcity of oil and all of that. But with this, I don't think this business can thrive any longer. Well, let's take a look at the Daily Times newspaper. Still on the issue of Forex, we have mixed reaction, trade CBN read mission of the 43 items after 8 years, where we are having negative implication for import substitution, local manufacturing. This is coming from Professor Owaleke. A move in the right direction, says Dr. Yusuf. We are having mixed, or actually different side of the argument. You can find more of that inside the paper. And a big story for the Daily Times. Tinubu replies Atiku in Supreme Court silent on Chicago certificate. Says PDP candidates appeal neither has legs nor wings. Dramatic proceeding expected. Apex Court yet to fix date. You can find more of that story inside the paper. Governors render 100 homeless allegedly for Chinese sponsor, where we have foreigner boasted that nothing will happen, says the lawyer. You can find more of that story inside the paper. Here we are having a picture story also. You can do well to find talking about the crash of the trailer on the bus, and it actually happened that the bus belonged to the Senior Staff Association of Electricity and Air. So you can do well, grab the paper and see more detail of any of the story that is of interest to you.
On New Telegraph, CBN leaves FX restriction on 43 items. How Apex ban will help Tinubu achieve $1 trillion GDP by Cardasso. You can find more details inside the paper. NUPRC grants first petroleum exploration license on the PIA 2021. You can find details on P7. Rep Suman Tugar Dabiri over maltreatment of Nigerians in Ethiopia. Ginger farmers who took loans for farming season dying of shock in 7 states. And from ICPC, we are set to track 500 billion naira constituency projects in 25 states, and we are looking for that would be. Tinubu appoints Olukoyede new EFCC chairman. How that Secretary. You can find details on page 2. And on the Israeli-Palestinian crisis, it may lead to regional and global war. Coming from JNI, calls for immediate ceasefire, says UN. Arab League orders didn't do enough to end crises that lingered for years. Article
Tinubu tells Supreme Court, and we have Ajulu Falana's wife, 56 others bank sans rag. Then we have IGP 7-day
amnesty. Panic as Onitsha market leaders back police in uncovering illegal arms dealers. More details can be found on page 3. Scout Nigeria, 5 to 10 years old children being recruited into cults, says 20 formidable cult groups operating in the country decries prevalence of child soldiers in Africa. You can find details on page 4. And we have a study using olive oil can boost brain health. 26, and that's all the news on New Telegraph newspaper.
Alright, straight up to Nigerian News Direct, where we are having POS agent arrested for allegedly stealing 942 million naira from employer. You can find detail of that on page 15. We have VP Shaitima guarantee industry steady power supply within 4 months. You can look more of that story in the paper. And the big story still on Forex. After 8 years, CBN leave ban on rice, palm oil, and 41 other items. Stability of prices. More of that can be found on page 4. Naira plunges in parallel market as Forex traders sell at 1,045 Naira to a dollar. More of that can be found on page 2. And on spectrum fees, Glo pays debt as NCC restores service. More of that story can be found on page 2. And we have PIA NUPRC grant first petroleum exploration license. You can find more of that on page 2. Tinubu appoints Olukoyede as EFCC chairman. Downside of the paper, we have AKK gas project July-August 2024 deadline sacrosanct. Minister tell contractors. You can find more of that on page 8. And I think at this moment we'd love to take a break so we can let you, get into the story, through the stories, and when we come back, we'll open the phone lines and continue with the paper analysis. Please stay tuned with us.
The mandate of reaching out to the world with the message of salvation and truth is a zeal that has consumed us. Equa Television International is live 247, reaching out to the unreached with undiluted message of hope through its programming.
You can be part of what God is using us to do by praying for Equa TV and supporting Equa TV. Keep watching Equa Television International.
We are a Christian station with the driving force and mandate to reach out to the world with the gospel of salvation and truth through programming and soul-lifting events.
You can join on this mandate. Let's spread the gospel of truth and salvation to the world. Pray for Equa Television. Support Equa Television. Keep watching Equa Television.
Sharing with the world the message of truth to help people come to the saving knowledge of our Lord and King Jesus Christ, as well as find solace in Him.
From sermon, theology, undiluted biblical principles to Christian music and drama that aims to give hope, peace, strength, happiness, as well as strengthen the faith of those who diligently seek Jesus Christ.
Democracy is the theory that common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. Join me every Friday 7 p.m. on National Talk for analysis as well as in-depth perspective on issues as they unfold in and around Nigeria, as well as an opportunity to add your voice.
Make your everyday informative, make your everyday count. Know your world, daily affairs, national and international, with authentic news events as they unfold on Global News and Zuma Nigeria, Monday to Friday at 1 p.m.
Hello viewers, my name is Amaka Ocheke. We anchor the program The Living Room right here on Equa TV International.
You are welcome to watch us every Monday.
The Living Room is a very interesting family program where we discuss everything you want to know about family.
Talk about our children's mental health.
Keep watching. Our program is always here, 5:30 every Monday. We want you to ask questions, we want you to phone in and drop topics that you want us to talk about, even on our media handle on Facebook. We're there. So keep watching, keep listening. The Living Room.
Thanks for staying tuned. It's still the Dailies on Equa Television. If you're just joining the program, we're live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can join us live there and also drop your comment or your contribution. At this moment, the phone numbers are displayed on your screen. You can do well to call us. We'd love to hear what your own contribution is concerning the story we looked at. If you're just joining, we looked at the fact that about 43 items have been lifted off talking about the ban for the past 8 years. The likes of rice, toothpick, processed poultry products, and many other things have been lifted off the ban. So we want to hear what your own contribution is concerning the lifting of the ban and also the reply of the president to Tinubu's to Atiku's allegation concerning forgery of his result. I still have Rachel Tender with me in the studio. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Welcome, Sarah.
All right, before the calls come in, let's take a look at the first newspaper.
On first news, forex restriction. CBN lifts ban on 43 items after 8 years. ICPC begins tracking of 500 billion naira fraudulent constituency projects. Only YPP Senator Ifeanyi Ubah defects to APC. And on Bielsa, poll fresh twist in APC crisis as Lokpobiri reconciles Governor Diri and Wike. Tinubu appoints Olukoyede EFCC chairman and AYS. And then we have Cameroon plotting to seize parts of Adamawa State. Reps member alert federal government. Alleges Cameroon already erecting pillars in Seri Todas borders community in Mechika and at House ad hoc community on international boundary dispute visit area. Second term agenda, we will deliver more roads and bridges to link more communities to Yenugwa, and this is a campaign coming from Diri. Another downside of the paper, reps move to rescue 250 Nigerians in Ethiopian prison. Summon Foreign Affairs Minister and NIDCOM boss. Fatherless wife, we have a caller.
Rachel, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy to see two of you again this morning. Well, I just want to contribute to the issue of CBN lifting a ban on rice. It's a welcome development. Because the issue have turned to another thing, just like we are inside prison. We put ourselves inside our own house prison. People are eating. If you travel out of the country, you will see that we are inside a zoo in our country. It's just like we put ourselves inside a cage. If you go to Cotonou, I've been to Cotonou before. It is a common man that cannot even speak French, that cannot even speak English, are importing rice at the expense of Nigeria that put themselves inside a zoo. So I believe that lifting ban on rice is a welcome development. It's overdue. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Still on First News newspaper, reps moves to rescue 215 Nigerians in Ethiopian prison. And on AFCON 2023, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea drowned in Group A. Claim of discrepancies in my credentials fabricated by Atiku. A statement coming from Tinubu tells Supreme Court CSU records alien to PDP candidate appeal. And that's all the news on First News newspaper.
On Daily Independent newspaper, we have extremist slaughtering, feasting on fellow humans. This is coming from the defense headquarters, with the rider as troop kill 50 terrorists and arrest 114. You can find more of this thing. All right, we have another call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm calling from Buhari. I just want to speak on the lifting of the forex, or rather the import of rice and other initial ban items for the last 8 years. We would like our leaders to know that the common man should be the basis upon which socioeconomic policies are made. You ban this product when you know that the insecurity in Nigeria cannot allow the local production of some of these items, because you all know that the farmers are the receiving end of the crisis between the herdsmen and farming. Agricultural import regulation in other climes is always predicated on considering what the nation can produce and then what amount that cannot be produced, so that the balance you import. And while you are importing, you are now making effort to raise the local production. As you are raising local production, you are reducing the import until it goes to zero. Here, policies are made not with the poor man in the minds of the elite, but on themselves. They ban these items while the price goes to the top of the roof, the common mountain, but you go to their houses, it is very, very common. And so I'm calling on them that apart from this ban on this, the lifting of this importation, ordinarily it should not stop the encouragement of local production. You have to be able to analyze the factor that led to us not meeting the national requirement of this item, so that while this thing is being imported, you could be able to encourage the local production, and so that every person can be able to have a feel of the country. The last speaker have just spoken about being a zoo. This is just metaphor. It's just the situation in which the common man is living here, that our plight is not in the mind of the policy maker. They just look at it. Take, for example, the floating of the dollar. You cannot just float the dollar on the advice of IMF and World Bank when you do not factor our own local issue. What are the peculiar issues that face us, that we cannot just totally float the naira? You have to regulate. It's done in other civilized crime, and I don't see why it cannot be done here. We cannot just continue to dance for the the IMF and the World Bank without knowing how it had negatively affect our people. Good morning, and do have a good press briefing day.
Thank you
very
so
much,
much.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you for that contribution.
All right, still on Daily Independent newspaper, we have guarded optimists as Olukoye Yade, first Southerner, emerges as EFCC chair after 20 years. You can find more of that story in the paper. CBN governor targets $1 trillion GDP growth in 8 years, with the rider says Apex Bank will now focus on core mandates. Lift forex ban on importation of toothpick and 42 other items.
Okay.
Coming to boost forex liquidity at foreign exchange market. More of the story can be found in the paper. All right, we have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
We can hear you.
My name is Seneca, calling from the Republic. I want to air my own view. My sisters, if you see the situation in the country now, you know that the APC government have no agenda. Buhari come inside, but then Tinubu lift. That is children place. Let us try, no manifesto. Let us try this one. If this one cannot go, we try this one. Another thing I want to talk. We are in the Republic here. If Nigeria over there, you people are not shame. We are feeling shame here. Every day in paper, discussing the present certificate of a president, first class citizen of a country. The whole world is watching. The whole world is watching every day. This is not how to rule a country. If they want to turn this country to Afghanistan, let them turn it. This is not the way. A country, first citizen of a country every day discussing it's a shameful thing to hear all over the world. This is history, which must be our children too, they must hear this thing. It's not a way to rule a country. It is a history that cannot be swept out. You cannot put that history out. Secondly, let me ask: is Nigeria not a country? We have system of appointment. In our secondary school, they say southwest, southeast, south north. We appoint. Okay, see the appointment of our president. Every appointment is from the no. This is not how to rule a country. If you want to rule a country, see the time of Obasanjo. Obasanjo go all overseas to bring Bozo Konjiwala. You know that woman can do it. You see people go overseas, import people that have integrity. To know that this is my brother, this is my sister. Let us talk. National case. Let us share our own. Yes, it starts from one, and the Tinubu must continue. If Tinubu has Nigeria will pray for Nigeria. May God help us. It's only God intervention that can help us. Because all of us, we are going outside. We are getting what we are. See Benin Republic, small Benin Republic. See all Nigerian people over there. Constant electricity, 24 hours. If you want to charge electricity, you charge your phone. If you want to charge electricity, you buy this thing and charge inside your house. This is what you call a country that have rule of law. I'm not going to disturb myself with that. Let God help you people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A lot of reactions coming from Nigerians out there, but everything will be better very soon. Just keep our fingers crossed. Still on Daily Independent newspaper, we are having on Israel-Hamas war. Strike devastate Gaza as Israel prepare for possible ground assault. More can be found on page 29. Minority senators reduced to 49 as Ifeanyi Umar defects to the APC. NUPRC grant first petroleum exploration license. You can find more of that on page 7. Legal Practitioners Committee confirm Ajuro 57 others. All right, let's take this call. Good morning.
Honestly, I don't know where we are going to. Sele and Rachel, good morning once again.
Good morning.
Honestly, Shama calling from Kaduna. I don't know where we are going in this country. The borders were sealed by Buhari. We didn't know what. Honestly speaking, nothing was good from 2015 till then. The borders were shut, thinking that we are going to have peace and harmony in our country. Instead of them bringing inputs that will better the livelihood of Nigerians, rather, bandits were coming, infiltrating from other countries, entering our borders. And we have borders control. Then what are we saying? The irony of the feelings of Nigerians. We thank God, Tinubu has opened the borders. Livelihood, by God's grace, will regenerate. Let me say it. I'm a vanguard of prayers. I always say this, that we should be in prayers for this country. Be you a Christian, be you a Muslim, we are all God's creation. If God had wanted Nigeria to be Christian, Nigeria would have been Christians. If God had also wanted Nigeria to be Muslim, Nigeria would have been Muslims. But if God brought us together, different ethnicities, different religions, why can't we embrace ourselves and move this country forward? Nigeria, since 1963 years ago, we have been an independent country. But we are not independent. We are being sealed. As the first caller said, we have been in zoo since 2015, from the era of Buhari. Say that Buhari, what he did in this country, Tinubu will turn it off and give us a good governance so that this country will move forward. Enough of our suffering. Good morning, my sisters.
Good morning, Mr. Shamal. Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much. Still on Daily Independent, we have CSU record alien to Atiku's appeal dismisses seat. Tinubu begs the Supreme Court, and federal government assure investors of steady power supply. Also, we have a picture story. You can do well to grab the Daily Independent and read any other story that is of interest to you.
On Vanguard, CBN removes forex ban on 43 items. Tinubu appoint Olukoyede AFCC chairman, Hamajoda secretary. Reps invite Minister Diaspora Commission over alleged maltreatment of Nigerians in Ethiopia. Infrastructure reform key to our economic policy, a statement coming from Vice President Shetima. The big story on the paper, Atiku cooked up allegations against me. Tinubu tells the Supreme Court, says petition was mere blockbuster with thrilling suspense, hide and seek. Era of exporting raw materials over, says Alake. NNPCL oil served to deliver $2.5 billion AKK gas pipeline project next July.
Right.
No discrepancy. We have a caller.
Yes, I'm Joseph Ifam, speaking from Makodi, Benue State.
Good morning,
I'm calling
Joseph.
in light of making contribution on Equa TV for the topic, particularly the one that they have talked about opening borders. Opening border is not enough for us as a nation because the past government told us they closed the borders, but insecurity was on the land. Particularly in Benue State, you discover that our local areas, nobody is in their hometown or villages. They are being occupied by the Fulani terrorists. And nothing is being done up to date. So even if you bring food, it's people in the town that they will buy. And then these local people, how are they going to buy those foods? Whatever you do now, because nobody is going to farm. And just of yesterday, somebody went to the farm. Before he come back, the Fulani butchered him. And these are the kind of things that are happening. And even now, as much as they say they will open borders, they are not being taken care of up to date. Even if they go open borders and they bring many things, it's only the elite that will enjoy it. And it is only for the detriment of the common man. So my prayer is that God will help them to see that this issue of insecurity will put to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that contribution. We truly hope that insecurity becomes a priority for the government because even if the borders are open to certain items, a lot of people who are in need of it might not have access to it because of the insecurity in their region. Still on Vanguard newspaper, no discrepancies in OB certificates, a statement coming from Labour Party. And then we have a column that says CBN at World Bank announces $1 trillion GDP target. And on the Israel-Hamas war, Sultan's JNI sues for peace as UN warns of dire condition in Gaza. LPPC elevates 58 lawyers to SAN rank. You can find details on page 8. And on the way, Lacan 5 column on page 17. And sports 2023 AFCON Super Eagles draw Algeria, Mozambique, and Zambia. You can find details on page 31. We have picture story at World Bank IMF meetings. And then we have at Agbara Business Roundtable. And that's all the news on Vanguard newspaper.
All right, let's take a look at the Nature newspaper where we are having on flood control. Tinubu forms committee to tackle Nigeria's flood crisis with the rider 45 killed, 171,545 displaced by flood in 13 states. This is a report coming from NEMA. You can find more of that on page 3. Lagos to host electric vehicle assembly plant. You can find that on page 13. And on climate change, Dangote Group moves to save environment, police journalists. You can start on the front page and continue on page 3. Federal government to boost food security through commercialization of Nigerian dams. Dangote Sugar targets 8,000 employees, award 200 scholarship in Adamawa State. You can find that on page 6. Makinde comments Armor Farms for boosting agricultural chain in Oyo State. Lagos to host electric vehicle assembly plants. And then on nature care, we have wonders of aloe vera juice. Downside also we have another on Cocoa Creek, the rise of the American teenager to Grand Slam glory at the US opening. We have the picture story showing us those who have been affected by the flood. You can do well to grab the Nature newspaper and read any other story that is of interest to you.
On Punch Sport Extra for UFC, Usman set for middleweight debut. Boniface credits teammate for success. We have Kano Sime breaks Yak's 21 goal record. This is for Eagles versus Saudi Arabia. Then we have Pissarro dreams first friendly win. Devils pounder Greenwood return. Arsenal join Vemeran race, and we have Jorginho Thiago on Barca radar. Modric unhappy with lack of game time. You can find more details on page 3. The big story, Group A, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Equatorial Guinea, and then Guinea-Bissau. Eagles draw against host is tricky AFCON 2023 group. And a statement coming from Pissarro, it doesn't matter who we play. We have quality to win tournament. A statement coming from Omeru. And at the downside of the paper, challenges made me stronger, coming from Oshoba. And then we have on volleyball, Spikers fine form trios Aboderin. You can find more details on page 2, and that's all the news on Punch Sports Extra.
Alright, let's round it up with the world of business on Business Day newspaper, where we have a move toward single forex rate. CBN leave ban on 43 items, Naira to appreciate on black market. Coming from analysts, how family businesses can scale to listed trillionaire firms. We have Standard Chartered sees African export nearing $1 trillion by 2035. Also, we have export grand backlog, stifle federal government quest for dollars. Investor confidence tinted as promising African startup fail. You can start on the front page and continue on page 30. And that's all on Business Day newspaper, and also how far we can go on the program this morning. Thank you so much, Richard, for doing this with me. Thank you to all our callers who called on the program this morning to air their views. We're truly grateful for your insight about situations in Nigeria. Thank you for the crew members. Thank you to every other person who has been a supporter of Echo Television. Also, we come here again next week. Do have a blessed weekend ahead.